Hello everyone, welcome back to Let's Talk About Singing. My name is Marco. I'm a singer, songwriter, voice teacher from Italy, living in New York City. We're here today with another reaction and vocal analysis. Blink 182 just released a new song. I'm so excited. You guys have seen a lot of pop reactions in this channel, but I love punk pop. I love 2000 rock, 90s rock. Blink 182 were a huge part of my teenage years, and I'm so excited to see that they're back together. The original lineup, Travis, Mark, and Tom, together. I've seen the promo for the song. It looks like the boys have not lost their sense of humor and their provocative attitude. The song is called Edging, so I mean, what more can we say about it? But before we go into it, I want to remind you that you can book a free voice class consultation coaching session with me. All my contacts are in the description of this video, or you can send me a private message on Instagram at perfectmark.music. Let's connect and let's get in touch. But now let's see what Blink 182 have in store for us.
I ain't that cool, a little fucked in the head. They'll be hanging me quick when I'm back from the dead. Get the rope, get the rope, get the rope, get the rope. I'm a punk rock kid, I came from hell with the curse. She tried to play it away, so I fucked her in church. Don't you know, don't you know, don't you know, yeah, don't you know. They say you're not safe here if I stay with a knife that's sharp. No way, no, I leave them broken hearted. Oh no, look at the mess we started. Oh no, I leave the broken hearts this way. What you say, you wanna play?
Wow, that's really cool. Oh, it's so cool to hear that this sound is back. This sound is back in the mainstream. So many of these rock bands from their era are back on tour, and it looks like their ticket sale are skyrocketing. I'm just very excited. Finally, we hear some electric guitars back after years and years of electronic music. And don't get me wrong, I love electronic music, but I just missed the sound of a distorted guitar. It's interesting to notice a certain sound change when it comes to the production. Right from the start, we are introduced to a typical punk rock, punk pop song. But in the way the drums are sounding and the vocals are sounding, we can tell that there's been an evolution in sounds in terms of, even at the beginning, you hear the drum rolls and then there's like a razor sound behind it. So introduction of little electronic elements here and there, which was not a thing 20 years ago. Tom is back with Blink 182, and that's awesome. It's cool to hear his voice. It's more mature, it's deeper and more distorted. There's a couple of times where he really applies that distortion, when he says, "Fuck in the head," like, ah. I really like his tone. I probably like his tone more now than back in the day. It's interesting to think about the fact that we tend to disregard vocals when it comes to this genre. We think that this kind of singers are just shouting out lines, but there's actually a very deep level of care. If you hear at times vocals are dubbed, they're like little harmonies. They kept them very back in the mix, especially when they go, "Get the rope, get the rope." You can hear that the vocals are dubbed, and then there's some higher vocals there, and the same thing happens later when he's like, "Don't you know, don't you know." There's like harmonies and definitely a dubbing of the lead. Lyric content, I'm just like I'm laughing because I don't know, I love the fact that these guys are now 40 something at least, and they still have that attitude, that punky attitude, provoking, careless, outrageous. What we was talking about, fucking someone in church or something like that. The shock factor and the I don't give a damn factor, it's definitely rooted in the genre. It doesn't matter at what age, you could be 20, you could be 40, you could be 50. It's just about being against the rule and making statements that might upset people and just not caring about it. I love that there is a little bit of a breakdown in the pre-chorus, which is a typical thing of this style. A little breakdown with the drums, and then you have a clean guitar sound, which is again 100% typical 90s 2000 punk, arpeggiating under the vocals, and then we go back into the chorus full power. And it seems to me that in the chorus, it seemed to me that Tom was singing the first line, then Mark was singing the second line, and then they were singing in unison in the third line. So far, it's exactly what I would expect from Blink-182. It's just them, and I love it. Let's keep going.
Yeah, don't be fooled, I'm only letting you down. They pursued me on foot, but I hid in the crowd like a ghost, like a ghost, like a ghost, like a ghost. The seats in my car filled with cigarette burns. I got a fire in my eye, a little blood on my shirt. Let's hit the road, hit the road, hit the road, hit the road. I know there's a special place in hell that my friends and I know well. There's a perfect place to go when it's time to lose control. No, I leave the broken hearted. Oh no, look at the mess we started. Oh no, I leave the broken hearts this way. What you say? You wanna play?
Yes. That's really cool. Really, really cool. Come on. Let's talk about Travis Barker for a second. What a great drummer. He's such a good player. He excels, especially in this style. You know, his fills are so cool. His drumming sound is so unique and recognizable. He is absolutely amazing. I mean, out of the three, on a musical level, he's definitely the best musician. Killing it on the drums. The drum sound is actually really, really awesome in this track. So in the second verse, it's actually Mark singing now, and his voice is more similar to his old tone from the early years. I hear some harmonies coming in. Again, they're very, very low in the mix, and I think it's really cool. They kind of give the sense of a new vocal element. You can barely hear them, but you know that something new is there. But he didn't have harmonies on the da 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 da. Kind of like a different approach from Tom's verses, where there was more dubbing and harmonies on the don't you know, gather up. Mark doesn't have those in his verse. And then second chorus, once again, you have Tom doing the first line, Mark doing the second line, them joining on the third line. There is a little bit of a call and response at the end of the chorus, and then there's some kind of bridge where Mark is holding these phrases, and then you hear Tom in the background going, oh no, kind of with a echoey effect. Again, new vocal elements that were not really typical in terms of sound choices in the late 90s, early 2000s, you know, this electronic effects. And then there is a breakdown with a chorus where you can really hear their vocals a lot better. And it sounds like the vocal have been processed. Normally, just like every record in today's music, vocals are processed. But again, it was not something that was very typical many years ago. Technology was also different, of course. But in the way you hear Tom's vocals, you can hear compression, you can hear some kind of like pitching effect. On Mark's vocals too, but maybe a little less. They're also two different tones. But it was interesting if you go back in that specific breakdown at the beginning of the third chorus where you can hear their voices, pay attention to the quality of the sound of Tom's voice, and you can definitely hear that there's been some processing of the track. And then in the end, again, you have what is that? Wanna play, and then the wanna play. It's the two of them together with harmonies, and they just end like that. I mean, it's really cool. It perfectly fits their style, their attitude, their artistic personas. It's interesting to notice how this genre is making a comeback. I think that we're definitely gonna see more and more bands like this, either coming back from that time or new band that use this type of sound. Singing wise, they use all the typical elements of punk and punk pop sound. No dynamics, straightforward, short endings. Some R's are rolled in a certain way, you know, when he says hearted. That's such a typical way of pronouncing some words in that style. A little bit of distortion here and there, but not too much distortion, you know, specifically on some words when it gets more aggressive. I think that people tend to underestimate this type of singing and consider it easy and consider it like something that doesn't need too much effort, but I assure you it's not as easy as it sounds. I would actually say try to sing some of these songs and try to do them properly and make them sound the way they make them sound, and then let's talk about that. If you feel that it's easy, or if you feel like this type of singing is also very, very engaging, especially this thing about keeping the same dynamics going on and on and on throughout the whole song. Imagine doing that for a whole show. It's always a certain placement, full sound, medium to upper chest with distortion. So it's actually kind of exhausting on a vocal level, and you gotta be really good at it. Well, guys, let me know what you think. I hope you like this analysis and reaction. Let me know if you're Blink-182 fans, if you are fans from the early years, or new fans, if you're excited about their comeback. What do you expect from the new album? Let's talk about it in the comment section. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumb up and subscribe. I'll see you soon with another reaction and analysis. This is Marco. Let's talk about singing. Ciao.